When you bank at Suncoast Credit Union, you bank where your heart is. A place where making a difference is important. Every time our members use their Suncoast debit card, we donate 2 pennies back to our communities. Those pennies add up, more than $3 million a year, to help needs like hunger, education, and healthcare. You can be part of this. Just open a checking account at Florida's largest credit union. Bank where your heart is at Suncoast Credit Union.
COVID is something we never could have imagined dealing with 18 months ago.
A lot of people were very scared because of the panic.
Because of the COVID situation, parents were very reluctant and worried.
To have 5 kids at home all at once and not knowing what life was going to be like.
Well, we knew that 65% of the families relied on our food program. That's about 1 to 2 meals per day for families.
Educators and schools all across the county are rising to the occasion, leading the way.
In May, actually, Collier County Public Schools decided we are going to open in person and remain open.
We began digging in across our school district.
They cared about me. They worked days and nights to keep us connected.
We want to recognize uniquely who that person is and how we can help support growth, academically, socially, and emotionally.
And if we get them concerned about their education and how they're going to reach the goal, there's your win-win.
We are serving meals over the holidays. Over the spring break, we served meals. We haven't stopped.
We have 90% of our students back full-time, face-to-face on campus.
Having the doors open has been a huge, huge success.
Well, if you've ever wondered how much teachers value students, this unique year was the textbook definition of how much they truly do.
We went from 15 days to flatten the curve to now a year later. So much unpredictability saturated every aspect of our lives. And the impact on our schools, educators, students was inevitable. They had to pivot and adjust to doing things in an entirely new way. And they met those challenges head on, tackling them. Collier County did this so successfully, they made national news as a shining example of getting kids back into school on day one and keeping things as normal as they could be during such a difficult time. So much has been said about our frontline workers, and we should talk about them because we're so grateful to the work that they've done. But we also want to shine a light on our frontline workers, our educators, who have made our students and children such a top priority during what's been such a challenging year.
It was extremely important to know that CCPS was offering choices for parents. Everyone feels differently about the pandemic, and knowing that CCPS was allowing parents to make decisions that worked best for their individual family acknowledged they're committed to individualizing the learning experience based on need. When weighing the options for our family, my wife and I had a discussion about the risk associated with sending our daughter to in-person learning, as well as the challenges we would face if we were to decide to do virtual learning. We also took into consideration that our daughter was entering kindergarten. We ultimately chose to have her go in person because we believed it was the best decision for her to begin her educational journey in a face-to-face setting.
Well, if you've ever wondered how much teachers value students, this unique year was the textbook definition of how much they truly do. Teachers spent hours and worked tirelessly calling students, setting up meetings both virtual and in person, sending emails, visiting homes, and getting resource kits ready to try to get students to come back to school. It really put into place how important that relationship building is between students and teachers, and showed how much teachers not only care about the academic expectations of students, but care about the social and emotional well-being of them as well. CCPS teachers are very special and dedicated this year and every year. They have an immense passion for their craft and of course high quality expectations and an equitable setting for all students. But this year more than anything they were flexible. We pivoted a lot this year, from in-person to virtual learning, changing up lunch schedules, changing the arrival and dismissal time for students, and our teachers were more than adaptable, always willing to do what was in the best interest for the students and to keep school open.
My teachers, they made me seem valuable, like they cared about me. They worked days and nights to keep us connected. I wanted to come back to school because it's important to be in person, to help me with my assignment and my homework, to get ahead with my level education. This year, I really enjoy being on campus, seeing my friends because they made me happy. Yeah.
So in May, actually, Collier County Public Schools decided we are going to open in person and remain open. So all of our planning and energies went that direction, where you saw different school districts, well, we're going to do this, we think we're going to do that. So what it didn't take is a notebook off the shelf just to be able to say, here's our plan. It was inventing the plan. And really important to us is the key word, to remain open. That isn't about just getting kids back, but the sense of security and safety for everyone right up front. All of these things that nobody's thought about. Buses, how does that work? How do you go to the cafeteria and eat? Food's a big issue in our district for our kids and their families, so making sure for kids that were at home learning, how do they still get food all during the year? So to invent a brand new eCollier Academy for parents and students that said, I just want to stay at my own pace, have my work, but be able to do it at whatever hour in the day, versus our Classroom Connect, which was really synchronous learning, and then the traditional in-person. What can we do to try and preserve programming for our students? So they've done it. They've done debates. They've done all of these activities. We've had a high school that did a full play with masks on, the orchestra playing with masks on, just to preserve those activities were and still are a big part of schooling. When you look around the United States, other states that are still not even open, so those kids lost all of those connection opportunities. So what we're the most proud about is the fact that we have 90% of our students back full-time, face-to-face on campus. When you look at the United States right now, that statistic's at 38% of all the students around the nation are back full-time, and in the state of Florida, 65%. We know we have kids that really need to have that face-to-face conversations, being able to be taught right there. It makes a difference. So we're very proud of all of our teachers for their continual care, as they did have different students from the beginning of the year, and they still picked it up and kept rolling. So very proud of everyone that's made that happen.
Early on, we decided that we were going to distribute devices, whether those were devices as an iPad or a laptop, one per family, because we knew that we could ensure that at least every family had a device in their home. Whether they had a device per student, we knew we couldn't do that. But we, over the summer, so that students could learn in the spring and through the summer, students had a device in their home. And we surveyed if they needed a device first, and we supplied those devices upon demand. And our faculty across the schools were able to supply those in drive-up distribution sites, and families were extremely thankful for that. We also supplied internet hotspots for families who needed that as well. So not only the device itself, but as families needed that internet in their homes, we were able to supply those as well. So just shy of 18,000 devices were distributed quickly to families in that spring and summertime. And then of course by day one in August, we had 47,000 devices in our hands and in students' homes, so that we had every student with a device by school start in August.
Starting with because of the COVID situation, parents were very reluctant and worried that the students weren't going to be able to do what they were supposed to in their learning. And that was very hard for parents that are able to speak English and are able to navigate themselves on the computer and the internet, if you will. But it was really hard for those parents that spoke no English or didn't have a way to communicate. So going to their homes, they felt safer, they felt like it's gonna be okay. And I was able to answer many of their questions regarding how to use Canvas, and then it was okay. They was like, we were all gonna work together. And that was very helpful for them.
I think that it was very important that the staff came to us as parents because it was more relief for us. It was important to us because there's not a lot of parents that have transportation or is able to go because of it. A lot of people were very scared because of the panic that was going around. So I think it was very relief that the school was able to come to us and not us come to them. His virtual teacher made it easier for us because she was very patient. She did different technologies where she made sure that they weren't just behind a computer all day long. She did breaks. She did a thing where they would call it silly dance. She made it very fun for them. She made it different, but fun.
We did a pumpkin investigation, so like a science unit. I got the kids pumpkins and their parents would come and pick them up. The kiddos here also did that too. So the parents came, picked up the pumpkins, we dissected it virtually. And during that time, I was starting to get kiddos into my classroom. So I had the kiddos virtually and then 2 that were starting to come into my classroom. So we were able to kind of do it together.
That was being a virtual.
Yes, I remember. You remember? It was fun. And so throughout the week, they did like little experiments. Did it sing? Does it flow? Ways to just kind of incorporate what we were doing here in school with the virtual kiddos. So it was a lot of hands-on and prepping.
What's happening here in Florida, in South Florida. And we want to be open. And we want to be open safely. We also don't want to have this situation where we're opening and closing, because we want education to be happening in our schools where we know our students are best served. And so we continued with food service as well, from the spring to the summer to current. We provide that food. Breakfast and lunch is free for our students currently under the USDA programs. But we are serving meals over the holidays, over the spring break. We served meals. We haven't stopped. So all of those programs that we implemented immediately in the early days of the pandemic have continued. And we pride ourselves on that. It's what we need to do to serve our families. They need us and we need them. They're our business.
Well, we knew that 65% of the families relied on our food program. That's about 1 to 2 meals per day for families. So we wanted to make sure we provided that support for them like we normally would do if the schools were open. So we wanted to communicate to families that we were there for them as a school and to make sure we provided them the basic necessities that they needed to make sure they can have some kind of normal life during the pandemic. We know it meant a lot to families to still be able to pick up food over the summer because that's the time that normally we wouldn't be open for them, but we wanted to show even though this wasn't normal times, that we will be there for them just like we would for any other crisis. So we wanted to make sure that we communicated to families that our schools open during the summer, come to our schools, get the food that you need, also have that one-on-one contact that we know that they truly value. And we do as well. We miss the families because they weren't with us during the school year. So it was a great opportunity to still see them, reach out to them, communicate with them, show them the love and support that we have for them, and know that we're there for them to provide for whatever they need.
It really was just a blessing to know that the school was alongside of us, me and my family, to have 5 kids at home all at once and not knowing what life was going to be like, what it was going to be without school, without going to school, trying to homeschool 5 kids. So knowing that the school was beside us and helping us and was just really a load off of my shoulders too. It just really helped us have a consistent feel like there was some form of consistency in the moment of complete, crisis and pandemic.
Wow, what amazing work by Village Oaks and Big Cypress. COVID is something that we could never have imagined dealing with 18 months ago. Reopening our community has had, and I'm sure many of the same challenges as reopening the schools. Our top priority, just like the schools, of course, was always safety, and there has to be a balance to delivering the best learning experience with the students while simultaneously being mindful of the care of the teachers and everybody's health. In Moorings Park's case, we had to balance providing our residents with excellent services with keeping them safe and sometimes in their homes, as well as keeping our staff safe. At Moorings Park, the board of directors set our mission and our values. They, along with the residents, set the tone to deliver excellent service and to make our community better, which includes our school system. We have been involved in the support of Champions for Learning and the school system for over 2 decades. Most of our employees, from the facilities technician, the dining staff, the nursing staff caring for our residents, have either been directly to Collier County schools or their kids are there now. So it is absolutely critical to our ongoing success. Moorings Park's ability to provide simply the best service to our residents relies heavily on the Collier County schools.
There are many things that look different this year, but one thing has remained the same: the value that our Collier County community places on the role of educators. Golden Apple has been our community's sincerest expression of appreciation for more than 3 decades and has been highlighting the practices of individual teachers. In this extraordinary year, it was so important to not only hold up educators, but provide the community with the story of how educators in schools all across the county are rising to the occasion, leading the way. You can show your support for our educators in so many ways, from sending a thank you note to that special teacher to helping to fund one of their grant requests on our Classroom Grant website. During the program, you can text the code you see on your screen to the number listed below. We hope that you will be inspired to help fund their grant ideas to continue supporting student learning in the fall. Visit championsforlearning.org and you'll see an option for the Classroom Grant Fund. 100% of those contributions, along with the revenues from the License for Learning tags, go directly to teachers in their classrooms. In such challenging times this past year, teachers have continued to go above and beyond to find those innovative ways to inspire learning.
One thing that I think will last is the collaboration with each other. I mean, collaboration is essential, and especially now in these kind of uncertain times. So everyone, was really reaching out and helping each other, coming together when they didn't quite know what to do. Even teachers who have had years and years of experience, they were confused about all this new technology, and so we all had to come together and what do you know, and it created that opportunity to have conversations with people that you might not have had a conversation with previously or before because they weren't on your team or they were in a different area working. So it's kind of created that way for us to talk to each other and everybody to talk to each other and share what they know.
We came together and we're finding out things that we had problems with, and we knew the whole staff was going to have issues with the same kind of situations that we were having problems with. So we created a training and we had it during in-person teacher week, and the teachers were very helpful to others. They appreciated all of our tips and tricks. The related arts teachers needed help with cross-listing their classes since they have the whole school. Also, we helped use the ESE and ELL accommodations so that everybody was within the parameters for the state. Something positive this year has been the technological advancement. Every student has a computer to use. The learning does not stop in the classroom. Virtual field trips have been able to be taken, and students who do have to miss school have their laptop ready to go, and they do not miss a beat. Something funny about this year is I started the classroom virtual, and I had 21 students who do not know that they cannot all talk at the same time, and the please mute phrase was used quite a lot. But once the kids did get the hang of it, kids are resilient. They did such a great job.
Because of COVID, our schools were forced to offer a range of online learning options for students. By creating a local e-learning academy, Collier County has a new platform with highly qualified teachers and staff to support the educational journey of local students and their families. Having more choices with individualized learning, self-ownership, and motivation is a best practice we applaud and stand behind. We believe the future of innovation in schools involves continuous engagement in lifelong learning, growth, and development. To realize this, our students need a community that is fully invested in supporting every step of their journey, from early childhood education to a range of post-secondary options. This year, the Richard M. Schulz Family Foundation provided a challenge grant to support and grow support for CCPS teachers to work collaboratively and share best practices. We were excited about this opportunity for our teachers and appreciate longtime supporters like Alan and Dolly Korist for matching our challenge grant to support teachers in their innovative practices.
Win-win workshops. They're really an awesome event for teachers because we get to be the leaders, so to speak, to share the things that have been working really well. And with this pandemic, we had to learn how to lean on one another. We became vulnerable and we had to take risks. And we were all kind of on the same page of the book. And it was so neat because you could feel that you could call anybody at any time, whether it was our admin or just a fellow colleague, and everybody was there to help. So the collaboration has been phenomenal. I think it took us all out of our safe spot, and it taught us how to learn and lean on one another because our goal is for the children. I was walking in the hall one day with one of the students. I think we were walking to lunch, and he said to me, "Mrs. Gerber, guess what?" I said, "What?" He said, "I'm almost close to reaching my goal." I mean, he was using leader in me conversation, okay, which are things that we learned through the workshop. So to hear the students now using the language, you know that it's starting to take hold. And if we get them concerned about their education and how they're gonna reach the goal, there's your win-win. It's a win-win for the teachers and the students.
I think it's really important to have high expectations for students. Even in a different or atypical school year, it's really important for them to know that even despite all circumstances, you can still strive for excellence and strive for those high expectations. Last year with the FPL Empowering STEM Educators, it was a wonderful opportunity to get to, especially as a first-year teacher, see other science teachers, see other school cultures, and understand how other teachers are teaching the same subject and content as I am. I've adapted what I learned into my classroom this year in terms of a lot more hands-on learning and using collaborative documents, online materials to get students to working all together at the same time, getting to share their data, share their learning, and getting to put it all together as a class.
Stock has always been a When Quality Matters company. We aim for a high level of quality in everything we do, from building luxury homes for discerning clients to serving thousands of members at our 2 country clubs in Collier County. Our home buyers and members expect quality products and quality services from us. So in turn, we believe it is important to provide quality in education for all students in Collier County. Many of our employees have children in the Collier County School District. Our goal is to raise well-educated children who may someday be an employee in one of our companies. Stock Development is pleased to support Collier County Public Schools. As a company, we employ over 300 full-time employees who live and work in Collier County. Their children attend Collier County schools. Stock has supported numerous events throughout the district, from the annual STEAM conferences, Golden Apple, Collier County Building Association, their annual toy drive for 2 schools within the district, to sponsoring numerous scholarships for the Take Stock in Children program. It is our honor to support the teachers and students in Collier County, where we live and work. Teachers play an important role in shaping the future for students. I believe it is important they are honored, and I know they are an inspiration to all of us.
So once COVID-19 hit, we realized that teachers, even though we were familiar with Canvas, we had been using it on our campus for a few years, teachers needed additional support in order to fully engage with it and have the students completely buy into it. So automatically, we came up with a plan to divide up. I have 5 administrators on campus between adult ed and CTE, divided up the administrators among teachers, so we had groups of 5 to 7 teachers, and each administrator would meet with the group on a weekly basis, and we had planned agendas to cover, and then individually with each individual on a weekly basis, just to make sure that we were all on the same page and progressing and moving forward and providing that opportunity for teachers to really feel comfortable using Canvas day to day with our students. And again, that was what was scheduled. If teachers needed additional support, we were always available for them 24/7. And of course, being virtual, it opened up those doors.
COVID really forced us to look at how we teach virtually and how we teach online. And it really made a lot more use of Canvas. And so I've completely embraced Canvas into my classroom on a daily basis now. It's something that we use every day. But there's always been a real demand for talented labor and a real shortage of talented labor. My students, when they apply for a job, stand out amongst everybody else that's going to show up. They come with skills and language and a vocabulary that's different and makes them different from everybody else, makes them valuable. They are very sought after. It's a clear pathway for them to get a job.
We have always been big supporters of education. The importance of the trades is critical to the success and growth of our communities. We have partnered with the technical schools in many ways. We are members of their advisory boards. We donate tools and equipment, and speaking with the students about the amazing career paths the trades provide. We also have an internship program so the students can see what it's like in a true work setting. I think the programs at Lorenzo Walker and other technical schools are critical to support the economic growth and sustainability of our communities. The greatest trend I've seen is the enrollment increases in these programs. The trades are finally making a comeback. People are coming to Florida in droves, and we need to be able to build new homes, offices, and repair our infrastructure to keep our communities looking beautiful. The approach the district used to get students safely back in class and the way they provided families with options to meet not only the needs of the students, but the families was amazing. This is something we will need to continue to adapt as we are all still adjusting to the new normal and whatever else the future holds.
At first, it was a huge challenge last year when COVID hit and we were all working from home, trying to figure out how to virtually create a virtual asynchronous platform when we were all so used to one way of teaching and learning. So for the students, it was a change. For us, it was a change. And the frustration of what was happening, it was trying to figure out how to reach those students in a meaningful way and make them still get what we needed them to understand. We went through, from March last year, and we pivoted on a dime, and the teachers stepped up and the students stepped up. And then from there, this summer, many teachers went on their own to try to work with Microsoft Educator Classroom and work in Canvas and figure out ways to envision what they did in the classroom. And that was, and that's really what blended learning has been, is how to change and adapt what our niche in the classroom. Some of us are better at connecting with students via discussion. How can we utilize technology to do that?
Well, we have some teachers that have gone ahead and created this online blended classroom situation with a large TV and all the kids can see each other from all throughout the room. Other teachers have done it where the kids that are virtual are on a cart and they're being moved around the classroom so they can see their classmates and interact with each other. Other teachers have kind of experienced and kind of played with things like breakout rooms and collaborated best practices on those with other individuals. I think that there's still so much more that we can all learn from each other. We don't know what to expect in the future, but I believe that a lot of these practices, a lot of these activities and things that we've done and that the teachers are continuing to do and collaborate with each other on are going to stick, especially here at Golden Gate, because the students have definitely benefited from those activities. All of us pulling together means that the students see the teachers as a team, that we're working together for the same goal. If they notice that we're all working together, we're all collaborating and pulling for them collectively, the students rise to the occasion. They will blow your mind with what they will come up with and how hard they will work.
Well, in Collier County, we have always been
very collaborative, had really strong structures in place to support one another in learning as educators and supporting our students and our families. While this has been challenging, there's always silver linings, and we've seen a lot of innovation come out of these situations. Teachers really have always, as they always do, driven that work. And whether it's formalized professional learning or more organic, things that have developed where colleagues are coming together to help each other, forming professional learning communities, giving ideas and strategies, that has been really exciting to see. And things that we'll continue to do regardless of our circumstances. So some real innovative practices have come out of our current challenges, and those are some of the silver linings. Well, here in Collier County, we have always been about, and really enhanced over the last several years, our emphasis on social emotional learning and mental health supports, because it's recognizing that we can't just focus on academics. We're looking at the whole person, whether a student, whether a staff member, a parent. We want to recognize uniquely who that person is and how we can help support growth, academically, socially, and emotionally. So with that, we have increased our staff serving mental health needs. We also have 5 distinct SEL priorities. Some of those we may be familiar with, such as the Buddy Bench on our elementary campuses, to the We Dine Together chapters at our middle and high schools that reach out and help draw in other students that maybe need someone to talk to or a friend. So our students are helping to lead some of that work as well, and their voice is really important in adjusting our supports along the way in social, emotional, and mental health.
So as co-founder and president of We Dine Together, the Friendship Garden is important to me for a lot of reasons, but I think to narrow it down, the biggest reason why it's important to me is that it's a physical representation of what the power of kindness and friendship can do to not only a school but a community. Just walking around it, you can just imagine all of the people there working together and all the friendships being made, and it's really shown through everything.
The garden came as a need for serenity, for beauty, for hands-on activities, for spending time together, being creative. And I think it has become really our tool for cementing relationship among the students, for accepting the ones who come as newcomers to our school and to our environment altogether. We have our counselors and our social workers. Sometimes when they have to talk to special cases, they bring them to the garden. And they find that that environment is very different from being in a packed little office stuffed with paperwork, and they find that the students react in a really spontaneous way.
So with the Interact Club gratitude grams, a very big portion of that was showing that every single person on campus was appreciated and that everyone has pretty much done something for someone else. Everyone makes someone else's day better. And we wanted to really show the people that make our days better that they do. Because a lot of people just live on with their day, say thank you once, and don't really show how much it means to them that someone helped them out or just was nice to them for a day. And with gratitude grams, that was the main focus. Finding the average mundane and then showing the meaning behind it.
What was important to me about it was how personal it was. I mean, we had been gone from the students for quite some time, and to come back and all the effort and training we did to come back and open this day up from day one for them. And then to see the heartfelt messages, how happy they were to be back on campus and how happy we were to be in front of them. I've been in education for 17 years, and I've gotten the candy bar in my lunchbox or whatever saying, we appreciate you. But to get the heartfelt message from the students, in their own words, and like Joey was saying earlier, how it wasn't just a, thank you. It was like, we're so appreciative you're back. Thank you for all you do for us and everything. It really made it an affirmation of us being back was the right decision.
Being with kids, I think, is the most important piece of being in education. I think that people say that, but I think you have to show it. I think words can sometimes be meaningless unless there's action behind them. And I think I've known that my entire career, but I think the pandemic and being away from them last year proved it to me more than ever. could not wait to get back to campus, and I couldn't wait to get back to the staff and the students. I miss them like I think people probably miss their own children. And I think those simple words of thank you go a lot further than people think. And so even words, I love you. I realized how much I love this job. I love my community, and I love my staff and my students. So gratitude goes a lot further than people think, and I think it's important to say it and really mean it and just show it.
The Baron Collier Senior Underground page is a page that Hannah and I created just to reach all the seniors in our class. It's just a way for us to get all the crucial information out to everyone in the class. Everyone sees the Canvas page every day when they open it up in the morning, so all the announcements are right there, ready for everyone to click on it. It's good. A benefit I've seen come from the BC Senior Underground page is that everyone can still stay connected while still being apart.
Something positive that has come out of creating this Senior Underground page is that there's been an increase of school spirit in our senior class. I mean, the amount of participation has increased a lot, and I think it could correlate with how the announcements have been going out to every single senior, and they know what's going on throughout the school year.
Well, it's so important for students to come to school and know that they're still going to have experiences that they're used to having, especially at the elementary level. In fact, some of the ones that we've created we'll probably continue to keep. An example that comes to mind for me here at Laverne Gaynor is our student award ceremonies. It's important that we recognize our students for all their efforts, but instead of having a typical assembly where all the students sit together, we used our cafeteria, having the students sit distancing and be able to come to the cafeteria all together as a grade level, receive their awards, and celebrate each other. So some of the things that we've made sure to keep going with is our walkathon. That was something that was important for our students to have that idea that they could help support the school. So we found a way to do a walkathon even this year during a pandemic, and it was so successful.
I call ourselves techies now. Who would have thought that we would use this much technology to continue with our traditions? You know, if you'd told me a year ago, I want you to film everything, we would be like, no, because the parents are here, but now because they're not here, we have to use our technology. So we do a lot of filming, and the Canvas page really helps because the parents are able to see. Even when we have meetings, we have our school advisory council meetings, it's all on Zoom and WebEx. My first grade team, they have parent meetings on the WebEx. And it went from almost, like 10 parents to now over 40, 50 parents are now, zooming in to see what the teachers have to say and what the kids, what their own children are talking about. It's really exciting.
Each one of us, with a snap of a finger, envision a teacher who impacted us. And it is without fail that each time that I am out and about in our communities, I hear this. Teachers help set the course for the future because they are so instrumental to the lives of young people. At Suncoast Credit Union, we believe in the power of education because we know it changes and guides the life of students of all ages. We believe open minds can learn new things in new ways, and that leadership is the guide for both teachers and students to believe they can persevere too. We recognize and appreciate the hard work of teachers and the important role you hold in our communities and our society. We make it a priority to support education, knowing that we are investing in the future leaders.
I mean, just think about all that we've overcome in the last year. It really is inspiring to think about all that educators have faced, how they've met the moment, and then used this experience to support their students and support each other. When you think about the inherent challenges of a pandemic, face-to-face interaction has to be limited. You have to be extra careful. So without being able to host their typical events in person, schools and educators became extremely creative in hosting events in a virtual world. Thinking back to virtual commencement last year, our opening of schools event for all employees, STEAM Expo this year, all traditionally signature in-person events that we reimagined for a virtual world so we would still have those connections. Collier County educators have filled in the gaps for students that need those extra supports, whether it be for academic, communication, technology needs. Even though we're in the COVID pandemic, they're giving those extra resources and support where needed. Not just the educators, Even students adapted to make each student feel like they were a part of the classroom experience, even if that student was learning virtually.
So that's Madison.
There we go.
And that's Madison's mom.
Mrs. Rushworth is the teacher, and she does virtual learning with her student through they put the laptop on the desk or in different places in the classroom, so that she really is a true part of the school community. They use some sign language with her. She has some communication concerns, and it's just a beautiful thing.
It's been really nice to see how Madison stepped up to the plate, because this is certainly not easy for anybody, but she's really made an amazing growth in this area. I think it's been really nice to be able to look into her world too, so I can combine those to really help her make the transition back and forth to school. It's been really nice because her mom's been able to watch what we're doing, so she's been able to empower Madison.
I think that they've done a wonderful job of making her feel like she's there. She's included in all the morning conversations. When she's coloring or they're working on something like this book, she'll take a tablet and set it next to one of her friends, and they talk and they ask Madison, how's she doing? The highlight of Madison's day that we started, Miss Rush will turn the WebEx on her phone and hand it to one of the students, and they take her to recess. Hi, Madison!
Students in the transition program are students with special needs who need time to prepare for their life after school. So in a transition classroom, we open up our classroom. Our students are able to go out into the community. They go learn career jobs, they go to different jobs every day, and then on Fridays we take them out and we do a community experience. So that was a little different this year because of our pandemic that was going on. Our students who are still virtual, were working from home. We had to do classroom-based in enterprises. So our students would make cards. In my classroom, we had a card business, so we would tell all the staff and students, if you want to come buy a card, come by, and each student would contribute to that enterprise. So then our students at home who are virtual were able to make cards at home. They could come stop by, get supplies, and then they would send pictures or send the cards in to be sold. Well, just recently, we had a student who was out to work, and he's new to the transition program because he just graduated, and he is limited communication student. So our student has limited communication, and he cannot verbalize all the time what he wants and what he can do and how he can do it, and so he might just sit there and not do anything. So given the opportunity, instead of trying to give him so many prompts and support like we were used to when he was in 9th through 12th grade, we're going, here you go, here, let's try it. Let's throw you out there and say, hey, what do you want to do? We got him into a job, and just this past week, he flourished. Instead of just opening the bag for making breakfasts at Ramada, he opened the bag, he filled the bag with 3 things. He even opened a bag for someone next to him, and then he rolled it down and stapled it. It was just heartwarming to see him showing what he's able to do, whereas these weren't normal things that he would even be able to do if in just a 9th through 12th classroom without the opportunity of a transition program.
With quiet humility, Mary Ingram has been supporting our teachers with cash awards to show appreciation through Golden Apple for many years. Mary believes in the fundamental role that a teacher plays in ensuring students not only get academic opportunities, but also the support for that student's well-being. She is especially grateful for the opportunities that teachers provide students with special needs.
For 30 years, the Naples Daily News and Champions for Learning have been interlocked in their missions to serve Collier County. At the Naples Daily News, we are committed to helping the community thrive. We see our partnership with Champions for Learning as a key way to fulfill. What better way to help our community thrive than supporting children and celebrating the teachers who are investing in their success? This year has been a challenge for many organizations and families in our community. That certainly was the case for the school system. They both needed to care for their staff and put in place safety precautions for our children. From this situation came much to be proud of, including the dedication of our teachers. The fabric of our community is strengthened when we invest in our children, and by extension, honor the teaching professionals enriching their lives. We all have a story about that teacher that changed us, who helped us grow, and we're happy to be part of shining a light on the great work that's being done here in Collier County.
I think it's super important to recognize and honor our teachers because teachers literally raise the future of our society. You know, like good teachers really make an impact on a student's education and also their life.
I think it's important that we thank and honor our teachers just because I know that they work so hard to prepare lesson plans for us. I just kind of admire how hard that they work to make sure that I get the education that I get. And I think it's a big part of the reason why I got into college and am gonna advance in my academic career because of what they've done.
Thank you. There's so much that has happened this year, whether unprecedented like the pandemic or just little things like testing and deadlines and scholarship kind of recommendations last minute. Everything kind of comes together to make me very grateful for everything that they do for us, that they're not just educators, that they're also our friends, our mentors. They do so much for us that isn't in their job description, and that's really appreciated.
The impact of educators, particularly in a year like no other, is monumentally important. No matter the circumstances, the role of our educators essentially stays the same, and that is to inspire hope, ignite imagination, and most importantly, instill a love of learning in their students. Even now, our educators are preparing for what comes next.
We're so proud of everyone that's really risen. Nobody probably thought they'd ever have that opportunity to rise quite in this way, but the amazing work, the amazing innovative work that teachers have done, that students have done, that the district has done. We're very proud because obviously education has not been the same. Just the continual different ways to connect into parents at night, to have just different varieties of activities that they never would have thought of through computer and technology use. So we've also very much focused on what are the silver linings coming out of a pandemic. So for us, there are a lot. Number one, one-to-one devices. That was a 3-year look for us to gradually move to that. We moved to that instantly. So we're really thrilled. Comes along with our students being able to now keep up with their assignments. So that's going to help our students all the way around. It freed up spaces in the schools because we've had dedicated rooms for labs, computer labs. So now that's freed up additional spacing in our schools. When we look at that's helped us deliver professional learning for teachers differently. Now they all have their own device too. They can do almost on-demand learning in addition to different activities that we would normally do with them, but it's just opened the door for so many different ways. So another silver lining is the creation of our ECA, Collier Academy. So because of the pandemic, now we will forever have a full virtual school, and some kids have really thrived in this full virtual school. Asynchronous, meaning that again, they can check in each day, but they do their work, whatever hours work for that student and that family. So to know we have a new school choice option for our parents, that's wonderful. So moving forward starts right with the summer. Additional students that'll be in summer school, trying to close those gaps, providing bridges for 5th graders going to 6th grade, for the 8th graders going to 9th grade, and a big gap, credit recovery for students that have been online and it just didn't work as well. So having to repeat courses, so that starts right this summer. And then also for our high school kids to be sure we know how can we even get that in during the day to have credit recovery so that we can be sure that they'll be at the same place they need to be to graduate and that nobody gets left behind. So as superintendent, what's most comforting to know is whatever comes our way, whether it's Hurricane Irma, whether it's a pandemic, we have a community that rallies together to support education. We are very blessed.
It's so incredibly important. This past year has been unlike any other school year ever. Teachers they have to connect with students in the classroom while at the same time connecting with a student that's half a county away. They have to learn skills that they never thought they would have to learn. They have to learn how to manage a Zoom meeting as well as the classroom. It's a very challenging situation. And I think this year more than ever before, we understand as viewers, as parents, as members of our community, how incredibly valuable the teachers are. Champions for Learning they do a marvelous job of celebrating education in Collier County and connecting with and bringing together people who want to contribute, who see the value of public education, but yet they don't have a conduit to contribute. Champions for Learning gives them that conduit. They bring people together so that the public funds can be used for the primary mission and the icing on the cake can come from Champions for Learning. Teaching is more than a job. It's even more than a profession. I maintain that teaching is a lifestyle. What we've gone through in the past year, the parents now understand that.
Thank you, Steve and NBC2, for this opportunity to tell the story of exemplary leadership, courage, resilience, creativity, and collaboration of our schools and educators, which has allowed our community to move forward. The passion of our educators, the resiliency of our students, and the continued outpouring of support from the community certainly have made this year one that is worth remembering. So much good has come from how our schools have adapted and risen above the many challenges put in their path that it will continue to positively impact learning in Collier County for years to come. Please help carry on the momentum built this year by supporting the great ideas of teachers moving into the fall and make a donation to the Classroom Grant Fund of Champions for Learning to help Collier teachers continue their work. Simply text to give using the instructions listed on your screen or visit championsforlearning.org and you'll see the option for the Classroom Grant Fund. 100% of these contributions will go directly into teacher classrooms. This program kicks off Teacher Appreciation Week, May 3rd through the 7th. Thanks to the support of our Golden Apple sponsors, each of the 58 schools will receive funding to create a special appreciation celebration for their own school community. And on May 4th, we encourage our entire community to express your appreciation and gratitude for our schools and educators. For a few ideas on how you might do that, visit championsforlearning.org. Thank you for joining us this evening as we hold up the important work of educators. Join us as we make this spring a time to celebrate the educators who have given so much to support our students and families in Collier County.
So one word that describes Collier County Public Schools to a T is evolving.
Competitive.
Transformative. Trailblazing.
Easier.
Inspiring.
Amazing.
Innovative.
Promising.
Bright. Impactful.
Achievement.
Inspiring.
Motivational.
Exponential.
Exciting. Awesome.
Persevering.
Prospering.
Resilient.
Diverse.
Accessible.
Dynamic.
Optimistic.
Changes.
Hopeful.
Progressive.
Remarkable.
Synergy.
Creative.
Empowering.